So, hey, everybody, welcome back to Million Dollar Practice Builder Show. And as always, I think I've a lot of value for you guys as you build your practices. A key thing, everybody knows the key thing of growing your practice is having new services. But you can't just cram whatever old service in there. You can't just put everything. There's going to be something that actually helps people, something that you can do relatively easily, right? It's something that's profitable and can be repeatable and can become part of your practices every day, not some unusual thing or some off-purpose thing. I've seen chiropractors bring in certain things into the practice, which isn't really what they wanted to do, but did it for money. Don't do that. Don't do that. You want to find something that really helps the public, that carries on the philosophy that you want to push in your office. If you do that, then it goes in like a puzzle piece, and you're amazing how much quicker become profitable, and just, wow, how do we ever get by without this? Now, a big thing that people heard about, I'm sure you've heard about this, but you may be wondering about it, is laser. Laser technology is used for helping people, and there's been a lot of, I'll be honest, coming at this as a marketer, usually marketing got a lot of confusing stuff going on, right? I never knew confusing until I started looking at laser, right? There's like this class and that class, but this million, all the science that goes with it. You get a little lost in the weeds, and it seems that every salesperson has their own spin on it. So what I decided to do, I hope you guys don't mind, I decided to kind of bypass all the sales spin and all the we did the best and that, and just go straight to somebody who actually manufactures a laser, right? Like, tell me, you guys actually make the things, okay? And you actually have created your own and done their stuff. So I found someone. I'm really happy to have these guys on the show today. But I've got Dr. Richard Albright, who's the CEO at Sumus Laser, and Dr. Phil Harrington, who is their medical director. And as far as I know, these guys pretty much so got it wired when it comes to laser. So what I'm going to give you on this show is, and what we're kind of talking about at a time, is making the business case for laser, right? There's a lot of medical case to be made for it, but I want to make the business case of how it will help you grow your practice and take you to that next level that you want to do without being a confusing thing and without ending up with a laser that's like dusty on the side of the office because it doesn't work or didn't get the results you expected it to. So anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate your time from both of you.
Well, thank you. I want to thank you for having us, and I know Dr. Phil will express that too. But we're really excited. We're really excited to be working with you guys. We're really excited for not only our existing doctors, but we're really excited for our new doctors to understand really what we do.
Okay, great. So let's just break the meat of it. How do you help practice owners? You got a practice owner. He's kind of looking at the show. He wants to grow his practice. How are you going to help that guy get there? Sure.
We've been doing this for almost 17 years. And I think my biggest takeaway, and it's even our mission statement, and in fact, I was just looking at your magazine from last month, and it states it right there. We change lives. We change lives in two different ways. We change the doctor's life in a financial and a patient satisfaction. And then we also change the patient's life. So it's amazing technology if you find the right technology.
Yeah, that seems to be the trick, because everybody in the world's got a flashing light out there, I've seen. And coming in from the outside, like I know the doctors would probably say, John, you're an idiot marketer, and I know that, but it gets confusing. And I actually had a meeting not that long ago with a bunch of chiropractors, and laser came up, and there was a lot of glazed eyes. Like, yeah, laser, right? Yep. So I know there's a lot of need for good, just straight information about it out there. And how does it work? Okay, when you bring laser in, what kind of success do you see? Like from a business point of view, what are you looking to do when you bring in something like this?
Well, it's something that I see, and John, I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you and your group. And the thing that really strikes home for me is that I graduated chiropractic college in 1996, and the statistic that I've heard back then, and here we are 25 years later in 2021, and we talk about 10% of the population will go to a chiropractor. 10%. And so you talk about chiropractic having a 10% market share. That's pretty dismal, and it really has not improved. With all of the chiropractic patient education, all of the diagrams, all of the videos, all of the celebrity endorsements for chiropractic, that 10% number has stayed about the same. But what is happening in our clinics that implement our laser technology, and specifically the ones that have implemented the laser for the care of neuropathy, they are getting access to that other 90% of the population. They are pulling patients into their practices that will say that they would not have gone to a chiropractor, but they heard that they have this laser, they saw the advertisements, they talked to another patient who had gotten the laser therapy treatments, and that pulled them into that chiropractic office. That's huge. When you can pull in patients from the other 90%, that is going to grow chiropractic substantially.
As a marketer, I can tell you unfortunately, one of the easiest things to market in America is neuropathy right now. I mean, it's sad, and those people, they don't care. They want help. They've been failed. Usually they failed 5 other things, and they want help. And they've not gotten help, and they will come to a chiropractor. Not a problem. We don't get that resistance at all when you market neuropathy properly. And that's such a deep emotional thing that people really go for. I mean, knee pain and everything else is great, but yeah, that's a big one.
And neuropathy with laser is even bigger. It's very exciting for the patient. But I would say, what would you say, Dr. Phil, are the results that our doctors are getting in treatment is well above 90%. I believe that's what they're saying.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes I pull back from saying that number because I always want to be someone who will underpromise and over-deliver results. But yes, we did just have a neuropathy weekend class recently, and the doctors that have been doing it for quite a while in their practices, they're telling us that 90% or greater success in significant relief of neuropathy symptoms, so significantly improving these patients' quality of lives.
That's fantastic. And I will say, again, I can only chime in from the marketer side. When you add laser to the ad, right, people pay attention. Like people, they don't want the same solution. Somehow in America, you say laser, and people's like, oh, yeah, laser, But it gives them a new hope, right? If you actually are marketing neuropathy and you say you've got laser technology with it, that's an automatic attention getter that might motivate somebody who wouldn't otherwise take action, right? That's so. Obviously, when you get someone in, you want to be getting the great result because nothing will stop quicker than some treatment that doesn't work. Right. Word gets around, right? People get around, even when you caveat it or something. So, okay. All right. Well, all right. When it comes to putting laser in and adding this to build a practice, I always like to ask this question: what's the most misunderstood thing that people have about adding this to their practice?
Right. And that's, having been at this for a long time, as Dr. Albright said, 17 years, we've been doing this a long time. We've seen a lot of things come and go. And yes, we've seen people use the word laser when actually sometimes their device is not actually a laser. And so a big thing is confusion of the parameters. And John, I'm not sure if you knew this, but I started out my professional career as a high school physics teacher, having a degree in physics. And so, I get it. I totally understand that when you start talking about all of the different parameters involved in laser technology, it can get to be very confusing. And unfortunately, down through the years, some manufacturers, some companies have been intentionally misleading when it comes to application of the parameters. Other ones are just, quite frankly, clueless about the parameters. What we have founded our company on is education and science. That's where it all starts. And so when it comes to development of laser protocols and laser devices, we look back to the research. We look back to depth of penetration studies so that we are building machines that will give that repeatable, consistent, positive outcome. As you just said in your introduction, that chiropractors want to introduce technology that is easy to use, is effective, and will give repeatable results. And that's what our equipment does.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm just gonna ask. So how do you separate the wheat from the chaff when it comes to a laser? How do you know when something it's just a flashing light and sometimes it heats up and something's actually going to get something done for the patient?
Right, and that kind of goes back to the parameters of power, wavelength, delivery mode, so on and so forth. Something that we've been seeing happening over the years is a few years ago, there was a big talk about how class 4 lasers have too much power. And I think that we are getting over that curve, and people are understanding that that it is necessary. And actually, there was a paper from 4 of the greatest researchers in photobiomodulation in the world. These 4 authors came up with a paper where they had a sentence that emphasized the understanding of proper laser parameters has made it obvious that you must shine brighter light at the skin surface if your goal is to get light deep into the body. So it is something that Dr. Albright and I, with our company, have been saying for years and years and years. And it was so rewarding a couple of years ago to have these top laser therapy researchers come out with a statement where they validated what we were saying. And so what is happening in the last year or so is going on the other side of things and appealing to that great American mindset that, gosh, if some is good, then more is better. And so we are seeing lasers come out now that are 50, 75, 100 watts of power. And if you watch treatments being done with these devices, it's ridiculous because the person literally has to be standing almost halfway across the room to be able to deliver the laser safely. I mean, if they would hold that laser any closer to the patient, it's going to create problems of possible burning and injury. So what we have always done, Sumus Medical Laser, we are going to look at the studies, we're going to look at the research, and we're going to develop the optimal protocols. Okay, we want to have optimal, repeatable protocols that are easy to use by the clinician, by their staff members to deliver treatment so they get the best results they can.
Okay, great. So yeah, America, more is not always better. You don't keep juicing the laser up till you smell bacon, right? You know, I mean, I can imagine how docs. Oh, you got a class 7 laser over there? I'll take it, right? You know,
right.
Let me write my name on the wall with this thing. But okay, so it's not okay. So more is not necessarily better. It's the tuning of the laser. Then is that what I'm kind of getting at?
It's the tuning of the laser. It's using appropriate power in appropriate situations. It's using the wavelengths. And I just want to throw in here, you know, we have been at this the longest, but Dr. Albright and I and others in our company, we are not complacent. Something that I've enjoyed, and I hope I don't embarrass Dr. Albright here, is that I have enjoyed working for him because he is innovative. He's always thinking about the future. He's never wanting to sit back and sit on the beach and rest in his laurels. He's always thinking about innovating technology to help doctors help as many patients as they possibly can. And that's a hallmark of our company.
Well, and the big thing is
you have that kind of purpose line that nothing hard to go wrong stays true to a purpose like that, you know.
And the big thing is we look at it from the eyes of a doctor, because we were doctors. We did practice, and we did practice with laser. And so we're not just the manufacturer that makes something and says you have to, this is the way it's supposed to be done. So 3 years ago, we basically became the manufacturer because we were a distributor at one time, and they weren't listening to what we were saying. And so then we said, all right, let's cut this off. Let's do it how we want it. We've been 17 years. We listen to our doctors. How does it? And so every year, you know, people think, oh, this is like the iPhone. You guys keep coming out with a different laser. We only come out with a laser if we feel that there's necessary or it's going to help the doctor. And so we look at it from that perspective, opposed to, well, we're going to put a 30 watt or a 50 watt or a 60 watt just to do it that way. It doesn't make sense to us. And so that's why we've been around the longest, and we've seen a lot come and go, and we're still on a steady path.
Okay, so somebody's watching this and they're thinking, man, okay, maybe I put this in. What kind of cases, what's it look like to put it in the office? And also touch on like cases and case values and those kinds of things, because, you know, the money's important too.
Sure, absolutely. And that's something that we've known, having been at this for a long time, is that oftentimes staff members might be a little bit intimidated by laser, and we can understand that. That's certainly understandable. Laser technology, they can be unsure of it. So we get them past that, and help educate them as soon as possible. And so we do have a company representatives will visit their practice to give them an on-site training in how to use the laser device. Then, of course, we have all of the manuals and online materials to help, with the initial education, and then as an ongoing resource for them. And then as intimidating as it can be, delivering laser treatments is really not rocket science. And that's where we have done the hard work of developing the protocols, and we break them down by the region of the body treating, the body part, the size of the body part, the condition that is being treated, pain level, skin tone, so that the laser technician will use all of those parameters of the patient that they are treating to make the selection in the laser device. And then from then, it's simply a matter of turning the laser on and shining that light on the tissues that they want to treat. So doing the treatments is, like I say, it's really not a difficult procedure.
Okay, I have a dumb question. Pardon me. So the doc doesn't actually have to do the laser treatments. It's a technician you train on this. So the doc can be in more than one place at a time suddenly. Is that?
Right. In most states, there are some states where there is an exception for chiropractic, but one beauty is that in most states, they can have a CA. And of course, realize that every state has different regulations when it comes to therapy modalities. In some of the states, they do have to have some sort of state-sponsored education for the chiropractic assistants. But in general, in most states, yes, it can be the assistant that is doing the treatment. Now, what we will find sometimes is that the doctor enjoys it so much. I mean, yes, you do have that time management feature, but occasionally the doctor loves to come in and run the laser because it's so much fun to see what happens with the patient during the treatment. But yes, a day in and day out operation of the practice, it is the CA that's doing the treatments.
So
Right.
financially,
Okay.
it benefits the doctor. Yes, because he's making money with the CA doing it, so he can have 2 or 3 lasers going at a time, and he can still work on. He has to diagnose the patient, and then after that, then he can move it off to the technician.
Okay, that's pretty exciting from a practice building point of view, which is where I'm looking at this from, because you can create a stream of patients coming in for multiple different types of complaints, knee, neuropathy, everything that the laser can treat. And you can have anything which lets the production double or triple with the same personnel. Like the doctor can then be in 3 places at once. Right. That's like having associates, as far as I'm concerned. That's just a phenomenal thing. So, all right. So tell me about the case values. What's it look like to charge, and how does that work? Like, give us the idea, high and low, I guess.
So for there, in most cases, we're going to have that discussion about will insurance cover, or will it be a cash modality? And let me just say that in most states, it is going to be a cash modality, which is going to be, I describe it as being a hurdle for some people and an opportunity for others. In my last few months of being in practice, one of the things that I hated the most was to have to deal with insurance and send in notes and get approvals and be on hold on the phone and all that sort of thing. I would much rather be interacting with the patient in an environment of fair exchange, where I am giving them a treatment that is scientifically validated and clinically effective for them, and they are giving me a little bit of their money to pay for those treatments. So typically, ballpark, we're looking at acute or sports injuries, sprains and strains are going to be in that 6 to 8 visits ballpark, whereas things like more chronic low back pain or arthritic knees, 10 to 12 treatments with possibly ongoing treatments needed, and then neuropathy, 16 to 18 visits with possible ongoing treatments needed. And then as far as individual case fees, part of that is going to depend on the demographics that the office is in, what the market will bear, what is fair for that area, and I guess at the end of the day, when we break it down, the return on investment is there. One way that our sales representatives describe it is that 2 patients a month are paying for your laser, and everything beyond that is going to be profit for your practice. And then me as the clinician, I'm going to come back and say, good grief, doctor, if you're only lasering 2 patients a month, there's something wrong here. We need to have a talk.
Yeah, right. And look, I even know this, the marketer's trick we use is we do if someone gets a new service in their practice, we do a database reactivation, which pulls a ton of new guys out of the existing patient files and brings them in and pays for stuff. Like I know a lot. I mean, I can go ahead and guess. My next question is usually about what objections people have, but I can go and guess the objection is cost, right? Like, how do I know if I have this, will it pay off?
Sure. Yeah, that's probably our biggest one we get is how much does it cost? Does it work? Am I going to use it? And you said that. Is it going to turn into a something in the corner? Put a coat rack on now. It's turning into. And then and here's the big one. And this is how do I market it? How do I get new patients in the door? That's probably one of the biggest objections we get. And then always at the end for the doctor who doesn't realize, it's like, okay, what happens if it does break or something happens to it? How do I get it back in service? And we're based here in Franklin, Tennessee, south of Nashville. Everything is done here. We basically our policy is if it's a fiber, we get everything to the doctor within a 24-hour period. So we use FedEx overnight. Bam. If it's something that maybe the doctor accidentally dropped it, our policy is if we get it back within if we can't get it back to them within 24 hours, we automatically send a loaner to them while we're working on their lasers. So they're out maybe a day and a half, 2 days max with the overnight back and forth. But we have, I think our database is, we have about 7,000, doctors that we've sold over the years. And that's also our other markets we are a global company, and our markets are, medical, which includes chiropractic, physical therapy, osteopaths, regen doctors, podiatrists. But another big area that some might know is we're also very big in the veterinarian side. So small animal, they have the same complaints as patients, with arthritic conditions, open wounds, wound healing, snake bites. We even had very good success with. And then we just entered this year into the dental market. We have sold over the past years to dentists with TMJ issues, and then some mouth type issues. But now we're actually surging more into those particular markets. So the big the hang-ups are, again, is it going to work for my practice? Does it work? How much does it cost? But I think overall the biggest, where the doctor has the most fear is, how am I going to get patients in from this? How do I market it? And that's where you guys come in.
I see. I'll be honest, guys. I see that as the easy part. I don't know why. I mean, I get it.
Exactly.
I get that. But I like, hey, shoot some of the laser and having them not die. That's magic to me. Okay, everything I ever learned growing up says that's a bad thing. I understand. Getting like, I would not want to be the doc in town who doesn't have the laser against the guy who does, because the laser is sexy when it comes to marketing. Straight up, no doubt about it. People see it, and it doesn't look scary. It looks cool and neat. Right? It's not invasive. It's not like we're going to slice you open or stick something in you or jam a needle in you or something like that. It's kind of all right, I can deal with that, So from a marketing point of view, it's not a different thing. The business is always out there. The complaints are always out there, and people are looking for new solutions. I don't know how we had I'm trying to promote myself too much here, but we did have a client in Illinois he was a regular chiropractor. He was doing the old, they call it slam and ham, right? He was adjusting. He became a client of ours, and we happened in just conversation. He said he had a laser. He had a laser he'd not used. Right? I don't know whose it was. Somebody bought it years ago. I don't know where he got it from. And so we said, well, get that sucker over there. And he started using it, and his practice doubled. Right? Because now he could treat so many different things so much easier and faster. That capacity is just being able to plug it right in. That's like a business booster thing, because you don't have to get a whole bunch of staff. You don't have to register with like medical integration. I mean, it's a big deal, and I'm nothing really against that, but that's a huge commitment, and maybe going down a different purpose line a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And that's what when a new doctor comes out of practice, when he asks, what equipment should I get? I literally, and I know Dr. Phil says it, you got to get a laser. I mean, if you had anything and you got to get our laser. Get,
A good
get a
laser.
laser.
A good laser.
It's gonna separate you from the rest. And because nowadays, especially even in this town, when I started practicing in this town, there was probably 8 or 9 chiropractors in this town. There's probably 25 to 30. And what's going to separate you from the pack? And
Basic marketing is differentiation. And if the other guys are offering the same solutions that people have seen or tried before, and you've got something new, you get the business. It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: I'll tell you this: the best cheat for a marketer is you showing a service that works, and you can't keep people away from it. Right? When word gets out that something works for neuropathy or knee pain, someone walks out and feeling better after one treatment, like what happens sometimes with laser like that.
Yep.
Word gets out. Marketing is real easy. I can sit back and take all kinds of credit for ad copy, but if you got something that really works, it travels. People hear about it. Okay, good. So here's another question for you. So, all right, so we know what makes a good laser. You got to have it tuned right. You got to price it right. I assume with the treatments for the area that you're in, you got to know what you're doing to get results with it. These are all kind of normal ideas. So let's talk about Sumas and what you guys like. I mean, one thing I like about you when I did the research into you is that you don't just say, here's the laser, here's the box, have a nice day, right? You guys do things that I didn't know were even possible to help make the laser work in a practice. So why don't you touch on some of your like super secret sauce there, some of the things you have.
Phil, you want to talk about on-demand?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the first programs, and we have a lot of things that go on with our company. One solution that we've come up is called the on-demand program. And we developed this because over the years, we would have a number of doctors that they're attracted to our lasers. They may know a colleague that have our lasers. They may have patients that have benefited from treatment with our lasers, but there's still something that is keeping them away from implementing the laser in their practice. And I mean, let's face it, oftentimes it is going to be that the financing, that, coming up with the money that it takes to buy the machine. So we developed the on-demand program so that a doctor can get the laser in their practice and start treating patients where there is a situation where there's no risk. There's no contract. There's no credit check. I mean, there's no long-term sign-up for things. We simply go from month to month to month, and the doctor is paying us every time they use the laser. So what they will do is purchase credits in the laser device. The laser device hooks into the Wi-Fi in their practice, and then they purchase credits either on the laser itself or on a secure website. And then every time they deliver a treatment to the patient, it deducts 1 credit from the machine. And that way, they are, at the end of the day, when you think about it, the doctor is really not paying anything for it at all. They are paying us a certain amount of money, but then they are collecting a larger amount of money from the patient. And so there's no net cost to the doctor. And that way, it is truly a no risk situation where they are be able to deliver the treatments to the patients so that they can see the results and eventually see the number of times they would be using it per day, work through the return on investment to see on a month-to-month basis how much money they can be making with the device.
There's going to says confidence like me, like that program right there. You say, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put it in your place. Mm-hmm. You only use it when you get paid in advance to use it, and you use it on a patient because the patient pays you, and then you use it and you get, and then you'll love it, right? Like that. You're willing to use it, you're going to put it there, and that's a good deal for them. I love that. I mean, that's very bold.
It's a no-brainer. And then we stepped up. They're like, okay, you don't think our laser works? Here, we'll give it. You try it. And which also Phil touched a little bit on it, but we also on every laser though we have what is called the performance tracker, and basically what that does is whoever is even operating it, say the doctor has 3 CAs, they have their own password, and he can actually see the performance of that particular person. So if she works on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he knows how many treatments she's delivered, where she's delivered them. And then if somebody maybe that works on the other days isn't performing as much as the other gal, they can either say, oh, there's something wrong, she's not using it correctly, or, but at the end of the day, it basically shows the doctor how many treatments that they've done, what conditions they've treated, and they can take a number, what they charge, plug it in, and basically it'll spit out an ROI, actual ROI, real time of what they're making. And so that's a good thing, especially on marketing, especially, business type doctors, to say that, holy cow, I didn't realize we're making this much money, or we're not making this much money, or we need to focus more on this particular condition. So it's a good statistics. Everything nowadays is statistics, and so it's great to at least understand what your business is about or how it's functioning.
Yeah, numbers are how you get to work with us, say, working on your business and not in your business. When you start paying attention to the productivity of others, especially when you're not there, or you start putting statistics to it, you start being able to kind of get outside of it and see what's going on and make rational decisions rather than anecdotal decisions, which a lot of kind of poor managers do, make anecdotal decisions. Rational managers make statistical-based decisions. And you say, hey, this worked better, didn't work better, we made more doing this or less doing that. If you can start doing that, and the equipment helps you do that, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Okay, well, tell me about this. You've got something, the Horizon laser and the on-call system. What is that all about?
So the Horizon, basically, that's our newest laser. And so this is 16 years of understanding the market. What have doctors have told us, what they needed or what can help them. And as we put this together, built from the ground, and 2 years to build it. So we packed everything, what we know today, from what we've learned over the years. And the laser is by far the most sophisticated laser out there in the market. The other part of it is the on-call system. This was something that, if you're purchasing a laser, you don't think of, well, why do I need an on-call system? But this is stuff that we had dealt with over the years. Is what happens is, and we touched a little bit on it, our company representative will go out and train our a doctor, live training, go in the office and stuff like that. And there's so much stuff. There's so much overwhelming of, how to, this and that and this. And you can only they're there for 3 to 4 hours. And so they might just say, okay, I'm just going to treat low back pain, or I'm just going to treat shoulder and stuff like that nature. Well, what happens is a month down the road, or 6 weeks down the road, or 3 months down the road is, well, how do I treat this? Or can we get somebody to come back and show me how to treat this? Or are they going to call for a clinical question here? So what we did is this on-call system, we patented it, but basically at the touch of a finger or a button, they can access any one of us, any one of our clinical doctors, and there's a camera on the cart system, and we can literally look at that particular doctor. If the patient is right there, we can steer the camera right to where they're at, and basically guide him on how to treat that particular question, or that guide him.
That brings you into the room. Suddenly, it's like, how do I put the button? And you guys are basically in the room.
We're in the room with them, as we said, 365, as 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, as long as they want us. Basically, so they would just set an appointment. Boom, they want a 15-minute schedule, 30-minute schedule. And here we come, so it's like what we're doing here, but a much different. We can actually, we are global. We can literally touch base with any of our global customers also with this, so if somebody's in Thailand or Taiwan and needs to get in touch with us, we can do it. But what we've done is the distributor that we have set up there, they're the ones that it'll get to, and then the distributor can come to us, because of basically language barrier and then sometimes time zone. Sure. But very unique, very that's been in the we're already on 2.0, because we found that the 1.0 in on-call wasn't as robust, and so we just finished 2.0 and rolling it out here in this coming week. So it's incredible service where a doctor in the beginning wouldn't think he needs that, but overall. And then here's another question, or another is the doctor's staff had left, and then I got to bring another staff. I don't have time to train another person. Hey, hit the button, boom, Dr. Phil will appear, or someone else, and we can walk them through that for, like I said, 30 minutes, an hour, as much time as they take to digest.
So you don't got to fly them somewhere. You don't have to wait for the guy to come back around and see you again. Like you get so say, because this happens, staff turnover sometimes quick, right? One day you're in business, the next business the person something happens and they're gone, right? And you can like, I got to lose a week or two worth of schedule while I get someone else in here. If you bring a replacement person in there and get them trained rapidly, that saves real money. That's a real financial actual thing. So this is basically, it's a laser and a laser education machine. It sounds like,
it is.
It comes with its own live user manual. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. And so instead of reading the manual, you got us.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine the doctors, when they're bringing in new equipment to do new first procedures, they want to do it right, and they get a little nervous. And I also know the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? If you remember this, there's a Dunning-Kruger effect is when you first learn how to do something, you think you're awesome at it, right? And then as you use it for a while, you realize you're not as awesome as you thought you were. And then you start coming to an actual appraisal how good you are, right? And I think a lot of people, when they start anything new, laser reviews, I got this. Yeah, I totally got this. Some back pain. No problem. And then the pain case walks in. Oh, I don't really know that, right? So if you can like turn that around within a short time and add new capacity to this, basically it reminds me of the Tesla, right? It upgrades itself over time. If you can add I can add more things I can treat to this without having to go somewhere. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and that's also with all our lasers too. So if we do have any software updates or any protocol changes and stuff, everything is done through Wi-Fi. And so you would receive a message similar to like your phone, and it says, if you want your update, you can hit the update, and then it's there, and you don't even realize, that hey, it didn't have to come back to us. And so we make it. And Dr. Phillips said this: we make it very simple. We did all the hard work. We took years, to develop a lot of the protocols and the laser, but we make it easy for them, because once you make it hard, then no one's going to use it. And so if we can do that part, it makes the doctor's life a lot easier.
Well, that's why these guys love you. You make it easy for me. Too often guys have had just a piece of equipment rolled to their front door and said, "Have a nice day. Thank you for the sale," and forget to make your payments, right?
And we see it all the time.
Yeah. And that, I can see that you're really compensated for that a lot, like really going over, bending over backwards to make sure guys are successful.
Because, the bottom line, just like in anything, our doctor's success is our success. So, and
you've been in the field knowing what it's like in the trenches. So great. So I assume you also offer CE for this?
Yes, absolutely. We offer a variety of either in-person or online events. We have been having some in-person events around the country in the last few months, and certainly, as things improve and things open up, we intend to do more of those in-person CE events, because yes, you can do something online, but there is nothing replaces being there in person to give guidance on delivering treatments. And so, we've developed a very comprehensive program when it comes to the basic laser science and physiology, as well as doing a complete review of relevant laser therapy photobiomodulation research, and looking at laser safety and risk management. And those are things that are very important. In my years and experience in this industry, I've only been involved in a handful of malpractice cases involving class 4 therapy laser, but each of those was actually avoidable. But unfortunately, it was a big headache for the doctor. So it's really important to have a solid education when it comes to laser safety and risk management when it comes to use of the laser. And then in our CE classes, we will go through a discussion from head to toe of using the laser to treat different conditions, giving tips for optimal outcomes, giving recommendations for a treatment schedule, what to do if treatments don't work the way you think you should be working. So as I said, that's really a head-to-toe presentation on delivering treatments. So we really have a comprehensive program put together, and as I said, we'll offer that either in person or through various online resources.
Yeah, good. Like guys who really build big practices, they know they've got to have their technology good, and they also know they have to have a quality control aspect where they learn, how to fix and but you have to know. I mean, this is just a fact of life, and they also know how to protect themselves in advance. And so anybody who's responsible will take the time to learn that, and so they're not putting what they're building at risk, obviously. But It seems to me laser, if you're there's a lot more risky stuff going out there. It seems to me than laser. Just from me sitting here as a non-practitioner, but I go, okay, laser seems pretty understandable, pretty easy, unless you're really being quite careless or something.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. So, go ahead.
no, I know, and and the ones that he was talking about, I don't think any of those were our brand.
Yeah.
No,
Other people's true thing. Like any,
and truly
we
they
all
were.
know.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't. Yep.
whether it's laser or marketing or making pianos, there's always somebody at the bottom of the barrel willing to do it cheaper, faster, and sloppier. And there's always the professionals that you want to get in with. Those are the guys who succeed long term.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they make a
that's
lot of noise and create confusion, and unfortunately for the doctor, he has to weed through that and get to the right, the right customer manufacturer or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's a shame, but it's out there.
If someone's thinking about it at this point, if they're watching the show this far along, probably thinking like maybe this is right for me, right? But maybe not. What's the next step? Who do they talk to actually do the math and figure it out?
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, there's two ways. We are going to perform a webinar here for any of your customers and so they can go to our website at sumislaser.com. And then we have a landing page specifically for those customers and /$1,000,000 practice, because you're going to have $1,000,000 practice with what they're doing now, but they're also going to have a laser $1,000,000 practice. But we are putting together just a fast, easy, understanding laser in 15 minutes to get all the nuts and bolts of kind of what Dr. Phil is, but to expand a little bit more on that. Or the other unique thing that we did starting last year was we have a virtual demo room in our office, and so basically we can go through a whole virtual demo of the lasers, depending on which model you want to see. We can show them all, and they can schedule that online, just going right to our website, and it'll say schedule a virtual demo. The third is if they wanted a physical demo, they just have to send click on the button, and then we would have a associate or representative in that particular area reach out to them, and they can set up a demo from there.
Great. Yeah. Well, okay. There's a question. Maybe we should ask this earlier on. I might even make this part of the tease later on. So, can you talk about what practice growth you've seen from some guys? Do you have any like example stories of like this dude blew up and did great with this?
Absolutely. I mean, whether it is with neuropathy specifically or just in general with adding the laser, once they get it, when it comes to the variety of conditions that can be treated with the laser, quite often what we're seeing is they will initially realize that they need to have one laser for the typical musculoskeletal pain syndromes or situations that they are typically seeing in their office, and then they'll need another laser specifically to treat the neuropathy patients. But then when it comes to return on investment and number of patients seen, those are things that expand greatly. So I could go through example after example of doctors all around the country that once they've implemented the machine in their practice, it's like a rebirth, a regrowth. It invigorates them. And I see that anywhere from new graduates through doctors who have been in practice for 30 years. I see it in big cities. I see it in small towns. That's one thing that I love about my role as clinical manager for this company is being able to interact. I live vicariously through all of these doctors all around the country and all around the world. And I get to hear their success stories. And that is just so rewarding to see and how they're able to improve quality of lives for people. So, I mean, there's just so much good about it.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun, helping people out, right? And actually seeing them walk in one way, walk out better, and knowing that you improved a life. I just love that whole purpose.
And the nicest thing is seeing that, like Dr. Phil had said, the guy who's been practicing for 30 years, doing the same old thing day in and day out, and all of a sudden putting out laser, and he's a new person. He's reinvigorated. He's excited to go into practice, and that literally still gives me chills. Everything I do. I mean, it is so rewarding to see it. Like he said, we live through our doctors, but seeing the success that they have.
Yep.
That's fantastic. All right, great. All right, so we're gonna put the links up that you mentioned earlier. Magically, I'll come up on the screen right after we end off here, so someone's hanging around. Any final points that I didn't cover? I mean, I want to make sure folks know what they're getting into, and they've got the the full idea of what it's like to work with you guys, or actually have laser and then work with really a good laser company, someone who knows what they're talking about. That seems to be, any points I've missed, anything you want to
Yeah, well, I would say you didn't miss anything, but I would say even some of the doctors that maybe have a laser and maybe haven't been that successful with it, we do take trade-ins, so we'll get them out of there. So, but we'll actually give a value to that, or even if they just need, even if they still have their laser or need some advice, we're more than happy to help somebody out just to get them on the right track, because we've been in it, we've been doing it a long time, and we have a lot of experience, and we still enjoy what we do.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Well, anybody who's interested in laser, I think they're silly if they don't contact you guys, because I mean, I kind of, sounds like a cool thing. Sounds like a thing that would work. I know it works for the class we work in marketing, when you can offer those additional treatment modalities, and especially when we work out how to get the results with it. Man, it's easy to market. It's easy to fill a practice up. It's easy to fill a knee schedule up. It's easy to fill a neuropathy schedule up. It's not, when you've got it, you can make it work, and that is nothing but the rewards of being a good practitioner. Are many. Some are financial and some are, spiritual, almost like you feel like you're helping the world. That's what we need to be doing right now with this entire industry. So I'm really happy to be have you guys on and allied. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, John.
Go to sumislaser.com, find out more. sumislaser.com/$1 million practice, or just click a bunch of buttons. Just do the thing. Get in touch with these guys, and this time next year you'll be probably in a whole new place in your practice. All right. Well, thanks. Appreciate you having you guys on. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, John.